Hello everyone, welcome back. Yeah, we are getting to our module 2. We will have the exam after, usually 2 modules. We will have 1 exam, right? That means that the module 1, module 2, 1 exam, module 3, module 4, another exam. Let me just quickly show you our learning process, our journey, right? We just covered, let's say, this one, the basics, right? We have introduced agribusiness, we introduced the management, some basic or classical theory or the contemporary management theories, and then we introduced the role and then the skills, right? I combine the roles and then I combine the skills and then the knowledge together. I moved the problem solving and decision making process, to module 1 because I think it is very important. And then this is throughout all your managerial activities. And then now we are getting to our module 2. Let me put it here. I will introduce you about the environment. As you can see from this diagram. So somehow this environment, you can say, hey, external, right? Market, economy, not only the direct environment, the company or the organization is, like engaging, right? But also including the big environment, global, right? The whole world. We are competing the whole world if you are in a international company, right? Coca-Cola. We would also introduce this a little bit more direct environment, thinking about the competition, right? The market can be the domestic market, it can be the the local market, wherever it depends on your business. Fluctuation. So the fluctuation means the consumer preference changed, all right? Or because of the input price changed, energy price. I have to mention about the gas price. And then we have, actually, I think we have 3 chapters. 2 regarding the environment. And the 1 chapter, I want to review some of the economics. As I always said, economics are very important. Bear with me. Sometimes I will show you this module. You just make our process, learning process, it is similar, right? But this way is more like a concept. We call this management model. We are talking about the second understanding, okay? Remember, I asked you, hey, after the basics, we will have the first understanding regarding your role, your skill, right? The second understanding is the environment, the agribusiness your organization is in. So let's start at the chapter 4. Chapter 4 is about the organizational environments. See, it's called environments. Environments. We are, the company is, engaging or operating. This chapter, I have to say, compared with chapter 5, I think chapter 4 is more, let's say, it gives us a broader picture. Always, as a manager, you should have a big picture. Later on, when we talk about management, when we talk about leadership, we will mention about the micromanagement. This is a style, but not good. It doesn't mean it is not necessary, okay? But it means that we should understand the weakness of the micro, management. In this case, that let's have a big picture, all right? A broad understanding about the environment, all right? So we will introduce the 3 types of environment, 3 big categories, okay? The first one is we call it the general environment. The second is called the task environment, and then the internal environment. From bigger to small, to the smallest. The company, the organization is so-called the internal environment. Directly get into the discussion. The first, overall, okay, overall, where you see this, you can call it big pie, a small pie. This is the organization, or sometimes they use the, let's say that the words interchangeable, meaning that the organization or organizational environments, they're the same. Bigger, right? The broad environment that we are in. For example, your company is, the company has the operation in China or in the US or, internationally, right? So this is the big environment. But also the company will be affected by the economic environment. How to understand that? So this is another, let's say, a big topic, right? So when we talk about the economic environment, this is the big one. Usually we talk about the economy, right? For example, US. You realize what is happening now. What is that? High inflation, right? Inflation. Okay, guys, I just put it this inflation. Okay, and then what is the second? Second one. People talk about. Usually, people talk about the employment. Okay, or unemployment. Okay, so sorry about that. This touch screen is not so well. And then the big, or we call the macro indicator, is the GDP growth. Okay, check the latest GDP growth. All right, tell me Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, negative or positive, and then come back to see the unemployment rate, and then come back, to see the inflation. Those three big ones, but these three big ones somehow define the current economic situation for the country, right? And then don't forget, US is the big country, right? And then US will affect other countries. So this will also influence other countries' economic situation. So you need to take a look if you are working for a company overseas, abroad. Additional things, okay? So there, additional things means we talk about the technological environment. You know what? Actually, I would put this more underneath the economic environment. Why? So when we talk about the technology, we will talk about the financial capital, right? We talk about the human capital. So human capital, I would say this is part of the social cultural environment, part of, okay, regarding the education, regarding the training. And then also we will talk about some the government policy. Let's talk about the infrastructure. So, but we can put all underneath, a big category as the economic environment. All right. So this is why I like economics a lot, because I can put many things all together. Something else you need to worry. Let me mention it here. So we have the physical world, right? Well, we have the virtual world, cryptocurrency market. Some of the application in the virtual world. Also, this is the political legal environment. I already mentioned it depends on which country, right? The political legal, US, you understand, but China, probably you also understand. But usually at this moment, I don't compare. When we talk about economics, many things we can explain. And then I don't like to talk about the system, those political legal system. I more talk about the efficiency. As you can see, I put it efficiency, okay? I put it here. Why efficiency? From the economics perspective, efficient is the target. From management perspective, remember, we want to use our input, our resource efficiently, effectively to achieve our goal. All right, now you understand. This is the big one, all right, the big one. The small one, the smaller, not the smallest, but the small one, we call this is the direct, the direct or the task environment. This is the environment outside, external, outside your company, right? But this is the direct environmental environment the company is engaged in. Internal one is, we call it the company, the organization, all right? And then we only mention about the culture. We don't mention about all those departments, all right? Keep that in mind. We will have the chance to discuss that. But at this moment, we only talk about the culture, the environment, how you feel when you work in the company. The textbook think that all environments are equally important. I don't think so, all right? It depends. Guys, you know my answer, right? It depends. But if you really ask me to, choose, right? I would say, hey, guys, this one, all right, is more, in my opinion, it's more important than others. When I talk about this is more like the external, right? The general environment, talk about the general environment. I can also talk about economics in the task environment. The second layer, the yellow one is the task environment. So when we talk about competitors, when we talk about customer, supplies, it seems we're talking about the market, right? We're talking about the competition, the market, and then somehow, oh, demand and supply, microeconomics, from the macro to microeconomics, right? We call it, either you call direct environment or we call it task environment. This is also related to economics, but strictly speaking, it's become some of the microeconomic topics. Let's quickly go to this general environment. Overall, it called organizational environment, right? But this big circle, the bigger pie, we call this is the general environment. Economics is the number one, right? Sometimes there is the reason when you see this, they make this sequence, they make this order, right? That also tells me, oh, economics is important, right? And they're political, legal, huh? Or just imagine whether you do exactly the same thing, or you have exactly the same practice in China, compared with in the US. No, right? Definitely not. Let me tell you, in China, you were much busy too. You're running a, not you, but you are the manager in your company. You have a lot of chance to, what we call the PR, right? Public relation, but the PR is more about the government relation. There will be also, we talk about the technical, the international, social culture, demographics. Those are more about the people, right? Actually, the international is also more about the people. Different country, different culture, different people. Okay, so somehow we touch this, the tradition, costume. We also talk about the, let's say, the human capital, right? Many things are different, so we needed to focus on that. But if you get the chance, anyway, this is the environment you need to understand. And then very likely your company will offer you some kind of, they call it cultural training, all right? Cultural adaptation training, treat you some, if you go to China, you need to use the chopsticks. I think you use chopstick anyway, right? We have this general, let's say that the environment of the organization. And then I think those are like, yeah, we have already somehow already touched, right? So I can quickly get into the next one.